Hello, Sheldon Gould here again with S&N Custom Lawn Care in Gladstone, Manitoba. Got another lawn care tool review that I wanted to do. I have another trimmer, well, not exactly a trimmer. It's a STIHL brush cutter slash trimmer. It's built more for trimming trees, like 3 or 4 inches with the saw blade on them. You can cut them right off, but you can also put different attachments on them, like a trimmer. I managed to pick this up from a lady that I did some work for. She wanted $75 for it, so I did $75 worth of yard work for her and picked it up. I've had it, I don't know, about 3 years. I don't use it a whole lot, and when we do use it, we use it more for trimming. And what we use it for is doing trimming in ditches or around culverts where the grass grows really high, you know, 3 feet. Stuff like that, where you got to go in and knock down really high grass, because this thing is way too big to really use in the yard. It's got a lot of power. It's got so much power that when you're actually trimming with it, you have to wear a full face shield or you get smoked in the head with a rock or something. So what I have, it's actually an old trimmer. I'm not sure how old it is. It is a STIHL. It is a STIHL FS220AV, and it says electronic underneath. I'm not sure what all that means. I have looked this up on the computer and I cannot find much on an FS220AV. What I do find is an FS220A, which is the STIHL brush cutter, and I'm assuming this is the same thing. This is just an older model and numbers have changed. And originally it it would be orange. I'm not sure why somebody painted it black. They painted right over the model number and everything. I've tried to scrape that off the best I could. And from what I make out, it's an FS220AV. Yeah, and it's an industrial grade brush cutter. I've talked to a few people that fix STIHL products, and they say they don't make them like this one anymore. That this is made with a large diameter shaft, and it's a straight shaft. It has the handlebar, biker handlebar controls on it. I haven't done much to it because we haven't used this for about 2 years. But I did put new fuel in it, and it's 2-stroke. So I put the 150 mix with the STIHL oil. It says STIHL, made in West Germany. It does have the settings in there for the carb, but I have never touched those. It seems to run okay. But there's the muffler. It's all enclosed, the whole engine. Spark plugs covered right up. Choke wise, it's pretty simple. What it has is just choke on, choke off. On the handlebar, it's got your throttle control, which is trigger. But it's got stop, run, and then if you're starting, you pull the trigger, push this back to start, and it locks the trigger about 1/4 to half of full throttle to start it. And then once it fires up, you just release that and it goes down and idles. It is a heavy one. It requires a harness because the motor is fairly heavy. The harness clips in down in there. The handlebars are adjustable. They can rotate, do whatever. With the harness on, you wear it on your back. It supports the weight on your back of the motor, and the head is pretty evenly balanced when you got the harness on. And then you just control it up and down, left and right, using the handlebars. The harness is right there. I would put it on, but it's kind of awkward to videotape what I'm doing and try and put that on when I'm the only camera operator. But that's the harness. It does come, like I said, I got this from a lady for doing some work, and her husband had it. Her husband or her father, I can't remember, but he had it, and he used it as a trimmer. Now I know this isn't the right setup. It's actually supposed to have a saw blade that goes between these 2 discs, but there was an option to put a STIHL dual string trimmer head on it, so that's what's on it for right now. Like I said, it's a large diameter shaft, heavy built, very well built, heavy duty gearbox. Apparently, according to the people that work on STIHL that I'm friends with, they say they don't make a gearbox in this quality anymore. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've been told. Everything is STIHL. The guard is all STIHL. All the attachments that come with it are all STIHL. Everything is made solid. Like this is all made of steel. It's heavy duty. Gearbox is heavy duty. Other attachments I have for it, other than this trimmer head, I do have another one like this, but it was stripped and you can't get the thing off to get the string in it, and I'm not sure where that ended up going. But I do have two of these, and I have this trimmer head, which you can put string in. As you can see, I got the red string, and it also has these plastic things on it that take down large weeds, large grass, stuff like that. And then for even tougher grass, I also have this blade. I do not have the saw blade as of yet. I would like to get one, the saw blade for actually taking trees down, which is what this thing was actually built and meant to do. So that's in the works, to eventually buy a saw blade, because the father-in-law actually has some land where he wants to put cattle, and he's got a fence line that he has to check and do some fencing on. He wants to trim the trees along the fence line. So I figured, you know, if I put the blade on this thing, I could just walk along and cut the trees back 2 or 3 feet on each side of the fence line and open it up for him. So that's in the works, hopefully soon. String wise, I don't run anything fancy on this, but what I do run is this the Fire Silver Streak, and it says it's made for electric trimmers, but I've tried it in this, like it's a large diameter, 0.065 inch or 1.65 millimeter. I use that. It seems to work great. It lasts and it cuts through everything. I actually bought that in Cromer's store in Cromer, Manitoba for $8.95, and I think there's about approximately 308 feet in here. So like we don't use it a whole lot, so I actually have a fair amount. So that should last a while. Depending on the different heads that I do put on it, I might try something different. There is a heavier grade. I don't have a package of it, but I can pull it out here. This is a heavier grade that STIHL has that I also run in this. But I seem to have better luck with that red stuff. But I do have some of this stuff if I put a different head on or a smaller head. I've also ran this in my other curved shaft STIHL, but it seems to get stuck up in the reel. So I've gone to one size smaller. But our main goal tonight is to fire this thing up. Like I said, trying to get everything up and running for spring here. Temperatures are starting to rise. We're about -6 today Celsius. Snow's starting to melt. Even the grass is starting to green, so we're gonna be getting calls to go to work here right away. And we have a couple of tree jobs that they were talking about trimming up some hedges, taking out some caragana bushes. So what I'd like to do is possibly get a saw blade for this thing and use this to take out the hedges. We'll have to see. But I want to fire it up, see if it starts. This thing hasn't been running for about 2 years, and I haven't done anything to it other than put a new tank of fuel in it. So we'll try and fire it up and see if it runs. So give me a second here and we'll see what happens. I'll put the throttle into the start position, choke it. Look at that, she fired up right away. It did stall, but that's probably just because it's a little cold. And it's up and running. sorry, I hit the stop button. I want to make sure she's gonna idle. Ooh. Well, she doesn't want to idle. Could be cold. Let's give it one more try here. See if we can get her to idle. Well, she runs pretty good once it gets warmed up. It didn't stall that time I shut it off. There. As you can see, it's maybe hard to tell from the video, but that thing has a ton of power. It is quite loud. Some of my guys do wear earmuffs when they're using it. The motor does run fairly warm, being a bigger motor. All my guys have to wear steel-toed boots when running this thing, because this thing could take a toe off in no time. I also make all my guys wear that a face shield like that. Like I said, this thing will throw stones and it hurts. You don't want one of those in the eye. But that's a great trimmer, heavy duty. If you ever come across one, I highly recommend picking it up. I think models like this new, somebody said about 1,500 bucks, and I've also heard 2,500 bucks, but I could be wrong. I'm thinking more around 100 or 1,200 bucks for this new. For a model like this, you can't get this one anymore. Like I said, it's an older version, and I paid 75 bucks for it. I'm eventually going to get this thing rebuilt and proper colors put back on the engine there. I've been told that the seals on the front shaft can leak, but mine hasn't been too bad. Gearboxes, they say they're fail-proof. They're built really heavy duty. The shaft's built really heavy duty, and they're just all around a great trimmer, or better. What they're actually meant for is brush cutter. But yeah, we had to get this thing up and running, so I wanted to do a quick video. And like I said, this thing has been running for about 2 years, so I'm actually quite surprised at how well it fired up. It took a little bit to warm up before it stopped stalling there. But once she warms up, she runs great. Lots of power, never dies down in power until you run out of fuel, of course. But yeah, great